Okay, so again, we're going to be recording, and sorry for my voice. Just lost it. We're going to be talking about publications, but we're also going to be talking about how Meteor works, how Meteor moves data around, how it provides some of its magic. And I found a quote the other day: "Any sufficiently advanced framework is indistinguishable from magic." And the reason why I love it is because this is the number one complaint I get from Meteor. People say, "Oh, it's too much magic. It feels icky. It just does too much." And my answer to that is there is no magic. As we're gonna see, it's Meteor just provides a whole bunch of very simple, simple conceptually components. And if you listen to the Meteor developers explain each package, everything is very at the core is very simple. So there is, whoops, don't show this message again. Okay. So if you talk to the Meteor developers and then you hear them explain things, you you get this illusion. There is no magic there. Everything, anyone in this room can come up with at least a basic version of all of everything that Meteor does. The magic is that they put it all together, and voila! Well, the whole is greater than the sum of all parts. So I'm going to start with a small demo. You've all seen this. I'll try to make it quick. It'll be good for people who haven't done a Meteor before. So here I have a whole bunch of files. They're all empty except for the home, and I'm gonna start creating with it. I'm gonna create a people collection and show it on screen. So shared collections, people, and on home. I'm gonna create the list. I'm gonna loop through the people collection, and I'm gonna display the name of each person. Um, on home, I'm gonna say on created. I'm gonna subscribe to. Ah, I don't need this one. I have auto publish running. So, but what I do need is a helper called people people.find, and this is gonna give an error. Okay, let's save Meteor. As soon as I save, Meteor reruns, and voila, it doesn't show anything because people doesn't have anything. So let's insert something. Okay, it automatically updates the UI, and it sends the data to Mongo. So Meteor takes care of moving the data around for us. Another thing that it does, which is pretty neat, is if I open another screen, if it wants, okay. If uh, whoops, not what I wanted. So here, if I disconnect, so if I disconnect from here, I can also say people insert and what's happening here is that this client is disconnected, but it can insert into the local cache that it has, and Meteor it takes care of the later then to synchronize it. So if I connect, boom, Meteor when I gain connection, Meteor sends the changes to the server. The server sends the changes to the other client. Yeah. Yeah, and the question is, does this happen if you lose your connectivity with like with your cell phone? Yeah, and you can tap into the events of whether Meteor is connected or not. You can so you can flash a button that says, "Oh, you're offline," and as soon as you gain connection, Meteor reactively update, and you can also try give a button to try to reconnect. So yeah, you get a lot of flexibility there. The database handles it. In the case of Mongo, last write wins, and the database always wins. So it doesn't matter if for example, you insert a record and the server rejects it, you're gonna you get a rollback. We're gonna see an example of that. So let me remove. Right now, we have a package called insecure, which lets me do all this stuff, insert from any client. So we're gonna remove it, and let's run it again. And now I'm gonna try to insert something. Uh, Didn't didn't refresh. Okay, let me go back again. So I get an access denied, but pay attention to the list when I try to insert. Ah, too fast. Uh, you get it flashes Carol for a second because what it does is that it inserts it to your cache, sends the update to the server. The server says you don't you remove the insecure. You have to explicitly allow what you want to send, and then the so the server comes back, says no, your cache is blown, so you don't have a record anymore. uh, so let's allow on the server. I'm gonna say I'm just gonna return true, allow everything. This is here you put in the logic that you wanna have stuff like are you the owner of the document? Can you do you have the permissions? If it's sensitive, are you the admin or stuff like that? Let's save, rerun, and now let's try again, and voila, it works. Now let's see. Let's remove auto publish. This is where we go back to publications. Um, by default, there's a package called auto publish that sends all the data from the server to the client. If we remove it, run this again. I'm not gonna wait to the reconnect. I'm gonna refresh. My list is blown. I don't have anything there. So what's happening here is that the server now is not sending the the people collection to the client, so the client doesn't have anything to show. And if I insert something, again, I can insert it. I can, because I'm allowing it. I'm allowing it here, but it doesn't. But it doesn't show again because the server doesn't. It doesn't send anything to the client. And I can even go to Mongo. Whoops. Let's, and as you can see, the record is there, the one that we just created. So the way we solve this is to create a publication. The server publishes the data, and the client subscribes to it. So let's do that here. I'm gonna say meter publish. Uh, I'm gonna return everything in people, and on the client, on created, I'm gonna say this: subscribe to people. Let's save all. It refreshes, rebuilds, restart, and there's the list again. Um, okay, so how does this work? I know that this has been a little bit boring for a lot of you because you're used to this, but here's where it gets better. So here I have a diagram of how Meteor works, of how it moves data around. At the heart of it, there's DDP. DDP stands for Distributed Data Protocol, and it's a very simple spec. It's only a few pages long. I highly recommend that you read it the next time you go to the bathroom. It's not going to take long. DDP at the heart is just specifying how JSON objects move from server to client and client to server. And it provides a nice framework for doing RPC methods, remote procedure calls. I don't know if anyone has worked with like remoting or stuff like that. That's just, you have on one machine, you send a message to another machine, and you say, run this method with these parameters, and when it's done, give me the result. So DDP is just that. Whenever Meteor sends data from the client to the server, or from the server to the client, it does it via methods. It sends, for example, on the case of subscriptions, it sends, oh, method, subs, name, whatever, and parameters, whatever. And that's just a JSON object. We're gonna look at it. Here for the sake of the diagram, I split subscription and RPC, and publication and RPC responses, but they're really the same. They're all really RPC methods. They're all really one JSON that says run method, for example, add uh, add record, and here's the data for the record, or method remove, and here's the ID that you're going to remove. So one thing that is good to take into account is that Meteor does the server publishes the data, and then the client subscribes to it. Uh, you need both, because the server can publish a whole bunch of stuff that your client might not need. So you the client will have to send again a method call on a DDP message saying subscribe to this publication, and the server will then know and will start sending the data as small chunks, like add this record, add this document, or remove this document. Another thing is that whenever you do like on the client, like an insert, like we just did, of people insert or people update, people do in the delete. Again, there's no magic there. What Meteor is doing on the client is that it translates people.insert to a method, to a DDP method that says add added this document, sends it, the server gets that JSON, and then you get the response. We can actually see some of that if we go to uh, network and then WebSocket frame. So here, if for example, let me open up a new window. I don't know, it's so slow on a new window. Okay, so here, if I insert something, we're gonna see that on the wire, Meteor sends a JSON object, a very simple one. Message, hey, added what? The collection people, ID, blah blah blah, and the fields name Greg. This is what's coming from from the server. Again, very simple. There's no magic. On this one, this client sent to the server. Let me see if I grab that. Let's see. Do I have it? No, I didn't get it. Um, on this client, what it did was it sent to the server one JSON that says added to the people collection this record. The server grabbed it, inserted it into the database, and then went ahead and sent another message to the other client saying, "Hey, added this document." So very simple. So we can do something that Meter right now doesn't do, which is reactive aggregate. So let's see what happens in your application. Let's say you insert a record. What will happen is that Meteor will send a an RPC call to the server with saying added a document. It will immediately put it into a small temporary cache on the client so that the client can update with with your changes. That's how you get this instant feedback. So you insert a record, it goes straight to your client's cache, and your screen updates instantly, and then it sends a call to the server, hey, add this thing. So what will happen is the server will then insert it into the database. It will watch the uplog, get get the record again. It will know which clients depend on that particular collection, and then it will send the messages to the client saying added this record, or deleted this record, modified this record. And again, these are just basic JSON objects being tossed around, and the magic is that DDP provides a common language for doing that. It specifies, oh, your JSON has to be formatted this way in order to for everyone to agree on what has to happen. So it adds the record to the main database on the client, and this one always wins. So as soon as the server sends something here, the provisional version on user gets blown away. So I don't know if you remember at the beginning when we removed insecure and we tried to insert a record, it flashed on the UI, and then it went away. What happened there is that the we inserted it. It goes first straight into the user cache. The user cache will then feed the UI, so it displays it. But then we also send it to the server. The server didn't allow the insert. It says no. So it sends a message to the uh, it sends a message to the client say I'm done with that request. So again, the the database always wins. It says if there's a conflict between the two, here there was a record, the database wins, it blows the temporary record, and the UI gets updated, and it takes the record out. So that's how data moves. That's how data moves around. So yeah, set filters for what? Oh yeah. Here I'm sending everything on this example, but you can also send, for example, send all the records for this user, or send all the records for this user for this screen, and you can also pick and choose the fields that you're going to be sending. And again, it's all going to be down the wire. It's just a one JSON message saying added and everything. So hmm? Yes, yes. Um, so the question is is it guarded by the find? And that is yes. On this find, here we're returning a cursor, and something interesting happens is that Meteor takes this cursor and taps into the live query, and we're going to see an example of this. I'm getting ahead of myself, but it takes that cursor and watches for changes in the cursor. So, for example, when a record is inserted, Meteor takes care of sending an insert, an added event to the client. If it's removed, Meteor takes care of sending the removed message. And as we're going to see in a little while, we can actually do it. We can actually send those messages, and the client will react accordingly. Let's see. So let's do that. Let's create a publication called we're gonna put here people shared, for example. Um, here what we're whoops here what we're gonna do is uh, instead of relying on Meteor to deconstruct a live query or a cursor, we're gonna be sending the messages ourselves. So I'm gonna say this dot added. The name of the collection is gonna be people shared. The ID is gonna be one, and the document is gonna be name Alan. Alan. Okay, so I'm gonna add another one. ID of two, and then I'm gonna say this is ready. So here I'm constructing a publication on my own. So I'm sending the documents myself on the client, on a client collection. I'm gonna say people shared equals people shared, and here I'm gonna subscribe to it. And I'm gonna change the helper to, instead of getting from people, I'm gonna get from people shared. Save everything. If all goes well, here's Alan and Corey. And again, here are the messages. So from the server, I get my JSON with message added, collection, people shared, and then fields named Alan and Corey. So here they are. If we go back to the slide, what we're doing is the server is manually sending one message at a time, and you can add all the messages. In the case of uh, here with the people publication, Meteor takes care of sending those added messages for you. It deconstructs the cursor, it listens for it, and it sends the added messages. And you can also play with this. So, for example, after we add Corey, I can say I'm gonna update Corey every 1 second and send a change message over the wire. Mm, mm, Every every 1 second. Corey, instead of Corey, I'm gonna put new date, self, and just clean up. Good. It's always good. Mm, ID. So save, and mm, I might, let's refresh this. What's wrong? Oh, added. Bah. And there it is. So if we go to the messages, every 1 second, I'm sending over the wire a message that says change. Hey, change this, change the people shared and the new value. Notice that the only Corey changes because that's the only one I'm doing it. And again, when you return a cursor, Meteor does that for you, takes care of sending the change in the messages. Now, one thing that we can do is we can tap into the live query. We can actually observe the changes as it happens and then do something with it. So for example, on let me I'm gonna stop that one. Not gonna be not gonna be using it. Go back to I can I can then here say, whoops, people find that's the cursor, and then observe. What am I going to be observing? A added event. It returns a doc. Uh, I can do remove. It gives me the document and change new doc and the old doc. So here I'm gonna simply output. the document. Mm, And sorry for this. Change from the whole document. Okay. Okay. So we're tapping into the live stream, and whenever a document is added, we get a we get a notification. Meter does this on the server to send again the changes on your live query, and this is again this is very simple. It's just a JSON objects moving around. If I delete Greg, for example, I'm gonna get removed. I'm gonna get two messages. Access denied. I'm not allowing any deletes. So what happens is the client sends the delete. The delete goes into the user cache. It sends it and then sends it to the server. The server denies it and sends the notification to the client database, to the truth, to the ultimate source, and it trumps the one on the server, on the client, the user, and then and then that's why we get another message. That's why we get this added, because it removed it from the user cache. The server said no, inserted it again, and life is good. So we get that's how we get it. So let's add to the let's add everything in here. Let's add remove, and is it change or update? I forgot. Thank you. Update. Missing a comma. Okay. So we'll go back here. Uh, remove. So now we only got one message. The server returns the confirmation that the record was deleted, indeed deleted. So the client keeps what it has on the cache. The same thing goes for the update. We did a delete, but the same thing goes for the update. One thing to note is that Blaze taps into the stream. It doesn't take the collection as a whole. So it's not rerunning things. So for example, if I put a console log here and say, oh no, this is publication. Well, yeah, publishing. If I on the home on the helper, if I uh, in helper save, okay, it'll say, oh, in helper. It gets it for the first time, and then Blaze gets all taps into the all the added and removed messages and updates your UI from there. So if I insert something, Greg again, as you can see, the helper doesn't run again because it doesn't need to. Blaze is listening to the events. It's listening to the live query. The same goes in the on the server. The publishing here, it runs once when Meteor starts, and then a second time when my client connects to it, when my client subscribes to it. If I open up another client, it will run again the same publication. Okay, so here the situation changes if I, for example, if I force the helper to return an array. Here, I'm not giving a live query to Blaze. I'm giving it an array. So it has to rerun this thing every time the data changes. So again, let me insert. Uh, it As you can see, it runs the helper again because Blaze doesn't have the live query to tap into. Let's see. Let's remove this one. And what do we have next? So we're very close to the end, and is now we're going to do a reactive aggregate. We have all the components. The main part is that we can tap into the live stream, into the live query from the server, and then do the aggregation ourselves, and then send the added and changed events down the DDP wire to the client, just like we did here, just like we did with the people shared. So let's do a people by first letter. Let me go down here. Whoops. So the first thing that we want to do is tap into the people collection. We've already done that. I can say people find that observe, and then I'm gonna just listen for. I'm gonna listen for added again, remove, change, and I need to do a little bit of cleanup here. So I'm gonna say var handle equals to data observe, because when the publication ends, I wanna stop listening to the stream. Yeah, this is a little bit of cleanup. Um, so now I wanna, yes, when the client gets disconnected, the client can also stop the publication. So, for example, if you subscribe, like we did here, am I on the right one? Yes. If you subscribe to people over here on the template, when the template is blown, the publication gets stopped. What will happen is that the server will send a message saying stop this publication, and the database will get cleared, and the user cache will also get blown. So again, let's uh, now we're going to do an aggregate. Again, we're going to do a count by first letter of the name. And for this, I'm going to say, let's start. Whoops, added. I have a document here. Okay. Uh, very simple, no validation at all. I'm going to start it in an object. If I have it, if I don't have it, actually, I'm going to add it. Equals one. If not, Let's see. I just want to increment it. Now, when we add it, I want to say that we need two things. One, a change, and one, the added. If I don't have a record, I have to send the added message to the client. Not gonna type it. The ID that I'm gonna give it is the letter, and the object, the count. It's gonna be format this a little bit. Count by letter. Well, I don't even need this, and the count is gonna be one. If I already have one, I'm gonna send a change. ID, letter, and the object, the count by letter. Here, I'm making an aggregate by hand. Again, Meteor doesn't, it's one of the things it doesn't do, so we can do it ourselves. Another thing is that I want to wrap this. I want to say, if it's not initializing, send it. I'm going to explain this. I can reuse this code for everything else. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put this whole thing into a function. I'm gonna receive the letter and the amount. Here is always gonna be one. Okay. So from here, I'm gonna say update count, gonna send letter, and since it's added, I'm gonna increment it by one on remove, update count, and decrease it. Let me make it a little bit. Can you still read it? Someone? I just want to show more of what's going on. So on the change, I'm gonna I'm gonna have two letters. New letter on the new doc, and if they're different, I'm gonna remove one and add the other. Update the new letter, increment the new letter by one, and then decrease the old letter by one. Now, one last thing. So what will- now what will happen is that when we subscribe to this publication, we're going to start adding stuff to this object that holds the count by letter. We're not sending it yet because we're initializing. So after all said and done, we go here and say for uh, in count by letter, and then we're going to send the added message. Once that's done, we say so that it's ready. So um, I know that I typed a lot of code here. I hope uh, you guys were able to keep up with what's happening here, which is not this is not rocket science. We're just a grouping on with an object. So now we have a publication that groups. We want to subscribe to it. Easy. We say this subscribe on the client. People by first letter, and let's show it. But here we have two things. We have the letter, put this bigger. Here we have the letter, and then we have the count. Let's add it to home, to the helper. What did we call it? People by first letter. People by first letter is going to be a function, and it's going to return. I have to create a local collection for this, just like we did with the people shared. I need a local collection to store the messages that are going to come from the server. And if all goes well, here we have a count. Let's add Albert. It didn't update. Why? What happened there? Let's see. First, let's see if, okay, there's two, so it has to do something here. Doc name added, update count. Oh, I forgot to set initializing equals false. We're no longer, yeah, what is the purpose of initializing? So yeah. So that the first time when we observe, it's gonna start going into this code, and if we don't have that, if we have like 50 records, it's gonna send one and then say I'm good. Send another, say I'm good. Send another, say I'm good. And with the initializing, we're waiting until all the records are in our group, our count by letter, and then we loop through it and send the added messages once, and then one ready, hey, you're good. What will happen if I don't have that, and you have an auto run on the client, you're gonna get 50 messages. It's gonna get run 50 times, once for each time it's added. Here it only runs once on the ready when all the messages, and then yes, for every single one you get one run because it sends the added. Let me save this. Um, Another name with a Alphonse. So it updated automatically for us. If we go to the network, we're gonna see our change on our collection of people by first letter, ID, A, fields, count, 3. That is the one that we send on the change. No, not on the change, on the add, because we're adding it. If I do an update on this one, that ID, I'm gonna set name to Bob. So here I'm gonna get the change, and on the network we're gonna get, oh, uh, that's a ping pong that meter plays. Here we're gonna say, oh, it changed from two, uh, it changed to the B and the A. So those are the messages. And so again, we have we have an aggregate. It's live. We're tapping into it whenever a record is inserted, updated, or deleted. We are observing it, and we're just sending the data down the wire as DDP messages. So that's all I have for you. I hope you liked it.